again from East Coast Recovery, and we've got another one of our little short videos on recovery, on subjects on recovery. And this week we have got the son of someone that suffered from addictions for many, many years. His name is Senol, and I'd like to just say thank you very much, Senol, for being brave and coming on to share your experience with us. Thank you, Senol. And obviously, we've had a little chat just before this started, and so we've got a couple of questions that we wanted to ask you. You don't have to share stuff you don't want to. Just share whatever comes to your heart and whatever you feel like you can. And so can you tell us what it was like having a mum who suffered for many years in the addiction? Can you tell us what it was like?
Hi, everyone. Hi, Sonja, thank you. My name's Senol. Well, it all started when I was quite young. To be honest, I'm 34 now. My mum was on drugs for many, many years. I think 20 odd years plus when I was a young kid. All I can describe it as in a nutshell. It's emotional roller coaster. It is really, really like a bad roller coaster to be on. When I was young, a lot of mixed emotions. I went through a lot of stuff with my mum. I didn't know what I was doing. I wanted to be at home. I wanted to run away from home. I didn't want to be there. I would tell everyone in my family that it's okay, it's fine, nothing's going on. I wouldn't tell them what's happening because I'll try and keep it at home. It was tough. I didn't understand it at first when I was young. As time went on, I started understanding what was going on. Just watching my mum lay in bed all day long, just doing nothing, just barely eating, barely washing, not getting up. I had a young brother and sister that had to look after, and I'll try and do things for them. I'll try and feed them, and there wouldn't be enough money in the house, there wouldn't be enough food in the house, and I'll go out and try and find ways to get food and money, like without letting anyone know what was going on. And it was quite tough. I started hating my mum at points. I started loving her again. I started hating her again. I started losing love for her. I loved her, then I didn't. It's really weird. It's like over the years, I loved her, then I didn't. I hated her, and I started hating people that served drugs. I started seeing dealers come round to the house over the years, and I started hating people that were serving drugs whatsoever. I mean, going back years and years, it's weird. I don't know what to say really. It's just like, it was quite tough growing up with it. All I wanted to do was just run away, and I didn't want to be at home. But I knew I had to stay there for my brother and sister's sake because I felt sorry for them, making sure that they was fed. There'd be times when my mum tried to get clean over the years, many, many times. We tried to push her to rehabs and programs, etc., and battling with the councils and trying to get funding, etc., through the right channels. That would be tough. And then once you did try and get clean, you have dealers coming around to the house, and they're trying to truck freebies in through the letterbox to say, "Oh, love ain't heard to me for a while," and try this again, and like trucking her freebies just try and get her back onto it because they knew that she was quite a good money pit. It was trying to stay away from that sort of area, not getting involved in them as a young kid to try and cause trouble because I know that I'll get myself hurt and things like that. And that was another constant battle. And I mean, what else would you want me to say? I don't really know. It's pretty hard, to be honest with you.
Chanel, you're not the only child that I know that has such divided feelings. You want to protect your mother with all of your might, yet you need her to get sorted out, and you haven't got the capacity as a child to be able to be honest. And it's very, 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 very. It's such a position that a child should never be in. Should never be in. So I totally understand it. I've got family members that are in the same situation. The children and the mothers and the fathers are in active addiction. It's a tragic situation that a child is put through. So you obviously had the younger brother and sister that you were there trying to protect and make sure they were safe, which was no child should be having to go through that. So Senol, do you want to tell us what the difference was when Mum came out of rehab this time, and what was I mean, I had a few phone calls with you while your mum was in rehab. She really struggled to settle down. I could totally relate to her. I went through the same stuff myself when I was trying to get clean over a decade ago. But you were very supportive. You were very loyal. All of your children are very loyal and very supportive. You really supported her while she was going through her struggles in here. So what's it like now with your mum in recovery?
Um, like I said, my mum went through recovery quite a few times over the years. And obviously this time was the best time ever because obviously she's come out and she's actually beat it this time. But over the years she went through recovery. Like I was always worried about going in because there was a few times where it's like thinking, oh, she can have a problem with somebody in there that's going to make her walk out. Is she going to do something bad that's going to make her get kicked out? Is she looking to do it on purpose to get kicked out, etc., etc.? Because that happened quite a few times, where we had gone and pick her up before with with friends and that's to try and pick her up, which has been kicked out of rehabs over the years. So I was always constantly living in fear every time she went into rehab, if that made sense, thinking, oh, she's just got this funding, she's going to mess it up again. She didn't want to do it. There was times where she completed programs throughout the years and sort of come back out and she was fine for a couple of weeks, a month or so, and then it slipped back into her ways and we went back onto it again. And it felt like I was constantly living in fear. And to the time she actually went to your rehab and I got to the point where I was like, you know what, you're going to do it, you're going to do it, you're going to do it, you are. If you don't do it, good luck to you. I don't really care no more because I had enough of living in that fear. I was just constantly worried about, is she going to get kicked out? Is she going to cause trouble? Is she going to start with someone and something going to happen, etc. And that's what happened, I think, at least 4 or 5 times before she got to your rehab. So I sort of went with that attitude, like, you know what, I don't really care no more. If you either do it or you don't, good luck to you, whatever. Like I'm an old person now. I don't need to live with you no more. My brother and sister have grown up. Like, you do it, I'll help you. I'm there for you. If you don't do it, then you're on your own, sort of thing. And that's the sort of attitude I went with her. I know it sounds a bit cruel. I know it sounds cruel, but over the years of doing it, like I tried to support her so much and it never worked. So I just sort of like took the back foot and said, you know what, I'm going to give up on you, sort of thing. Was 20 years is a long time to be dealing with that sort of stuff when you've got a life to try and build yourself. And then when she went to your rehab, she survived it. She did it. She did the program. When she come out, it's like a whole new person. She still had certain traits about her, the way she spoke, the way she carried herself. But she had some really good characters to her kindness, that she come out with some like really good kindness, and all she wanted to do was help other people. She wanted to really try with the family and be with my children, her grandchildren, to spend time with them. I never thought that my children would ever be spending time with my mother ever. Not in a million years. Like, there's no chance you ever be seeing my grandchildren. And now that they stay at her house overnight, she has them all weekend. They love going there. They absolutely love it. The kindness of her trying to find work and work hard towards what she's doing, staying off the drugs, and the way she talks about talking like sort of like church thing. She goes to church and she goes to meetings and she talks about Bibles and loving and kindness. It's weird for me to see, amongst all I know is my mum being in that bedroom, laying on that bed, doing nothing all day, just rolling up that stuff in that Rizla and smoking. And times when we find her in Bath when she's just like KO'd in Bath, and just loads of bad times. That's all I ever had an image of her. And to see her now, to how she's come to just someone who's actually finally like beat it, and now she's just a lovely, a loving kind of person, just wants to help people and just work and just get on with life and live her life to the fullest. And it's really good. I had doubts, don't get me wrong. There was doubts, I think, she ain't going to make it, she ain't going to do it. Even when she come out, it's like, is this really her? I'm what's going on? I'm not too sure. I was a bit confused. And it's been quite a number of years now since she's been out, and it's been amazing. Like, it's good. It's good. I mean, I still got a lot of things to repair with my mum. Like, I love her to bits and I speak to her all the time. I still won't say that I'm close to her as I should be, as a mother and son should be. But hopefully that will come in time one day. It's just a lot of years outweighs the good years at the minute, and hopefully that will come into line soon. But I'll always be there for her whenever she needs me. If she needs help, there's no question about that.
Senol, it took my daughter 12 years of me being in recovery for her to find the courage to be brave enough to tell me about myself. And all the stuff that she told me, Senol, wasn't about me in addiction. It was about me in recovery, about mummy, you don't listen to me. Mum, she finally found the courage, and she knew, obviously, that I could take it. She found the courage to say them things to me, and she was 20, early 20s at the time. So it just takes years. I think that the healing in relationships doesn't really happen in short-term recovery. It has to be the long-term recovery, and it looks like your mum's in it for the long haul. And I wanted to give you some honour where you kids really could, despite your mum's, she was there physically, but she wasn't really there. She wasn't really capable of being able to do the stuff that she should have done for you. But despite that, you're a very successful professional. All you children are done really well in your lives. Would you agree with that? despite your mum?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm not saying that it was all bad. I mean, she did try her best to make sure that we had a decent Christmas. We had some presents around us when we was growing up. I got to give her that. I've got to give her credit where it's due, even though she was like crazy on drugs and but she always made sure that we had some sort of presents between us and Christmas to open up. And she did try her best to have food in the house and clean it. Sometimes there was times where it slipped for months' time, and I would jump in and take over that role for a little bit. But she did try. I mean, I wouldn't say she was a terrible mother. She really did try.
But she's got a good heart, hasn't she? She's got a good heart, but she just didn't have the capacity to do what she should have been doing as a mum.
Yes, definitely.
If you think about it, if you've got young children and you say, oh, so and so over there is taking drugs and drinking alcohol all the time, alcoholically and drug addictly, would you let them look after your children? You just wouldn't.
Yeah, no, of course, yeah. We did try and keep it privately as much as we could, obviously. But obviously things get out as always. It's quite difficult. I was like, I think I was about 13, 14 when my mum started taking the drugs. So I knew my mum before my brother and sister were born. What she was like as a mother, and they never got to see that. When they were young, they never really got to see that too much because they was too young to understand what she was like when she started going it. So it was quite difficult, but she did try her best, to be honest with you.
And your little sister and your little brother, can you tell me about them at all? How are they doing?
So my sister, my sister grew up with a lot of, how can I put the word, a lot of resentment against my mother, and she held it very personally. So my sister would be like, I didn't get I didn't get as far in life because of what you done and what you was on. But I think she just used that as her way of coping, making it to say that I love you, but you've done like I hate you at the same time, sort of thing. So I think she just used that as a coping mechanism to talk to my mum about it. But she's quite successful. I mean, she become a nanny for private rich people, should I say? She gets paid quite good money. She's just given birth to her first daughter a couple of weeks ago, so she's just become a mum as well. So she's literally going to be at home being a mummy now while she's on maternity leave. She's in the ice cream business with her partner, who run their own ice cream van business and sell ice cream around London and stuff like that. So they're doing quite well. My brother, he works construction. Just working construction is normally learning the trade and trying to become a builder. Myself, I ended up joining British Army in 2008 when I was quite young. Went away on a few tours, come back, and now I work as a firefighter for the London Fire Brigade. So yeah, I'll say we did all right. With my mum being on drugs, I think it kept us away from drugs and drink. Like, we resented it so much because of what we see, that it kept us away from even trying any sort of drugs or want to drink alcohol. When you're a kid and you mix with friends, people want to smoke weed, they want to smoke ash, stuff like that, and try pills, and it's just what kids do when you're mixed with a group of people. And I think that kept me away from all of that. I refused it. I didn't want to try anything or do anything when my friends say try it when I was younger, because I knew what I was going through. My mum just resented it so much. I couldn't understand why people would take drugs and then it affects them so badly as it did. And I didn't understand that as a child. It's like, well, if you knew it's going to be bad for you, why try it, like, sort of thing? And why can't you just stop it? Or why carry on? But I didn't understand the addiction back then. And but now obviously I do. So it kept me away from it, really.
So Senol, honestly, I just feel like you're so all you kids are so lovely, and I just want to say thank you so much for giving us the time today, for coming on. And
no worries.
Just got a lovely little family. I kind of don't know if respect, or I really look up to you guys, supporting your mum and doing what you're doing. You've really done wonderfully. And so thank you for coming on. So that's it for this week for our little short video. If you've got any questions or think of any other subjects, if you could leave it in the comments box below, that would be great. Thank you very much, Senol. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Take care, guys. Thanks very much. Hopefully I didn't ramble on too much, but yeah. Take care. See you later.
You were great. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.